What's wrong with the Jedi Order? Well, some people say it's time to wipe the Jedi Order clean and go with a fresh new perspective. A lot of the articles are saying that, and some are saying in the articles that the Acolyte is going to show just what's wrong with the Jedi Order. Now, I know from watching the movies that the Jedi Order wasn't perfect. They were very set in stone, and the Jedi High Council had very strict rules and regulations. It's kind of funny, Yoda would always say the Sith rule in absolutes, and so did Obi-Wan. The Jedi were kind of unyielding and unbending in their thoughts and ways. I think Luke was wanting to be a little bit more flexible with the Jedi. In Legends, he allowed the Jedi to have attachments and get married, but Disney totally put that in Legends and doesn't have that as canon, as we know. But I found an article, and I want to know what you think in this article. And it is talking about the new show, The Acolyte, which is rumored to be out June the 5th, I believe. It's not official from Disney because, they always push those things back. But right now, it's set for June the 5th. So let me pull up this article. So from yahoo.com, Gizmodo, Star Wars is getting closer and closer to exposing the Jedi Order for what it is. Tell us, what is it? And here's the lead, Mandela Stenberg. And it says she was attending the studio panel at Star Wars Celebration 2023 in London, England. When Star Wars first arrived in the world, back when it was just the original trilogy, mountains of toys, and one peculiar holiday special, well, actually, after Star Wars is when all the toys came out and the peculiar holiday special, which on my channel, I had a live movie watch, and I drug a whole bunch of people to watch it with me on my channel live, and it was so funny. It's not so much funny watching it by yourself, but with a whole bunch of people, it's a lot more fun. The Jedi were the good guys, Darth Vader and his pals were the baddies, but in the decades since, things have gotten a lot murkier across both sides of the Force. Speaking to C Magazine, Amanda Stenberg, soon to star in Star Wars series The Acolyte, created by Russian dolls Leslie Headland for Disney Plus, shared a little bit about where the show fits into not just Star Wars timeline, but its ever-evolving perspective of its core concepts. In the context of the Star Wars universe, it's a time of great peace, theoretically, Stenberg said, referring to the High Republic, an era several generations prior to the event of the Phantom Menace. It's also a time of an institution, and it's a time in which conceptions around the Force are very strict. And I think what we're trying to explore within our show is when an institution has a singular conception of how power can be used, we try to provide a lot of different perspectives and answers to that question. The idea is to kind of honor the ethos of Star Wars and ideas around the Force, and also challenge them, hopefully harmoniously. That dovetails with Headland's own statements, including those she made last summer in an Entertainment Weekly piece teasing the show. Star Wars is always about some version of the underdog versus the institution. And I just thought it was very interesting to do a show about the bad guys, and to set that during the time period made the most sense. So it's kind of almost flipped, she said. We have more Jedi than you've seen in any of the other Star Wars content, but at the same time, you see more morally ambiguous characters than you've seen in any other Star Wars content. Oh boy. Noting that the Acolyte is from the perspective of the villains of Star Wars, Headland described the show's characters as people who are using the Force in their own way, dipping into the darker sides of the Force, and are doing it without being sanctioned by the larger institution, which in this case is the Jedi. Challenging long-held ideas around the Force and blurring the lines between the light and dark side is a relatively new path in Star Wars media, and it's extending beyond just the Acolyte. Today, StarWars.com shared an excerpt from John Jackson Miller's upcoming novel Star Wars: The Living Force, which takes place before the events of the Phantom Menace, but includes some of its characters, including Jedi Masters Qui-Gon Jinn and Mace Windu. It examines the Jedi Order at a crossroads as the group considers its place in the galaxy and whether it's time to rethink how they handle their business. It's an interesting road for Star Wars to travel and certainly opens up opportunities for stories more nuanced than clashes that may see different characters and settings involved, but still feel awfully familiar. Though it is not yet officially confirmed, online reports have tagged the Acolyte's premiere date as June the 5th. And then it talks about what you can do and check out the other universes like Marvel, Star Trek, DC, Doctor Who. So, what are your thoughts about this article? My thoughts about the article are that they are blurring the lines between good and bad to destroy Star Wars, basically. You have the good, you have the bad, but when you make the bad good and the good bad, then there's nothing that makes sense anymore. There's nothing wholesome, there's nothing good. You can't have a coherent movie, storyline, or anything like that when you have these mixings of the dark side is now good and the light side is now bad. If the dark side was good, why did Emperor Palpatine take over the Empire, kill all the Jedi? His ultimate goal was to make the universe in his own image. He wanted to become so powerful that he would wipe the universe clean and make it in his own image and remake it. So is that good? For somebody, I don't think it's good. And the Jedi, like I said earlier, they were very stubborn in their ways, and they had a lot of growing up to do. But you had Qui-Gon Jinn, who was very flexible in his thinking and thought processes. Yoda, he worked with the younglings, and he was he was coming around to being more flexible. I think that if given time, he would have become such a great Jedi Master with his flexibility in the Jedi Order, but he didn't get the chance. And so he went to Dagobah. Qui-Gon Jinn was killed. Obi-Wan, I just think that him going and taking over, watching Luke as his guardian, he probably didn't think of anything else, just his teachings from the Jedi Order, and probably learning from Qui-Gon Jinn how to become a Force ghost. So my only question is, if Obi-Wan wasn't trained to be a Force ghost by that time, and in the second season of Obi-Wan, people were saying that Qui-Gon Jinn trains him to be a Force ghost, and that's why he meets Qui-Gon Jinn at the end of Obi-Wan season 2. Spoiler alert. Then how the heck did Anakin become a Force ghost? When did he ever learn to become a Force ghost? Because he didn't have any training from Qui-Gon Jinn. Yoda didn't really meet Qui-Gon Jinn until the end of the Clone Wars, and you never hear about Anakin having any interaction with Qui-Gon Jinn's Force ghost. So how did Anakin become a Force ghost? That's my question. My question to you, your homework, you tell me why Anakin became a Force ghost. Because Qui-Gon Jinn had all the answers, and he was able to figure out how to become a Force ghost, and that's how he told Obi-Wan and Yoda, but he never told Anakin. So let me know. I'm interested. But like I said, Qui-Gon was a very gray Jedi. I love the term gray Jedi. A lot of people hate it, and I think it would be fantastic to bring that up. Mace Windu, he was not. He was the complete opposite. He was staunch. He was by the book, and I think he thought he was the chosen one. And when Anakin came, it kind of like crumbled his whole world, because Mace thought he was the chosen one. And Mace is still alive too. Him and Plo Koon, Mace and Plo Koon, they're hanging out, living the good life. The more I read about this Acolyte series, I was so hopeful, and I still am. I want to give people the benefit of the doubt that they'll do a great job on something. But the more I read about the Acolyte and some of the the director's things that she said on Twitter, and which I'm going to do another video about later on, it's just it's not looking good at all. And I'm going to watch the series if it's nothing but a bunch of non Star Wars George Lucas ideology. I can't. I'm not going to watch it because, like someone said, the more you get away from George Lucas's vision, the less of Star Wars it is. It's just like slapping a sticker on a box of nothing and calling it cereal. It's nothing. I think you have to follow George Lucas's vision for this in order for this to work. I mean, is he right all the time? No, he's not. But his first 3 movies and the sequels, I mean the prequels, they were okay. But the first 3 movies were fantastic. And you just follow that. I mean, they're going to run this series into the road and pull the live support out because it's already on live support. I think that them exposing the Jedi Order and them bringing the Sith in to be the good guys is total nonsense. Show the High Republic, have the Jedi go on missions. Let's keep it as little political as possible. In the prequels, oh my gosh, it was so much politics. And in the Clone Wars, there's a lot of politics too. Let's get to the Jedi, and in Star Wars and in Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, there's not hardly any politics at all. No politics. I mean, none. You don't hear him talking about, you barely hear him talking about in Star Wars that the Emperor did away with the Senate. Tell me what you think. I'm really interested to know, what do you think of this? Would you be willing to give the Acolyte 1 or 2 episodes just to see if they're able to do anything halfway decent in this series? If not, let me know too. I just want to know what you're thinking. And if you want to know more about the Jedi Order, check this video out. May the Force be with you always.